Good morning, boys. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to our online lessons. Boys, I want us to continue with glaciation. Remember that we were looking at erosional features in the glaciated uplands. The erosional features in the glaciated uplands that we have looked at are sac, tan, arete, pyramidal peak. We have also looked at a hanging valley. I want us now to look at glacial trough, which is also referred to as U-shaped valley. What is a glacial trough? This is a wide, flat-bottomed valley which has steep sides with U-shaped cross-section. I've said this is a wide, flat-bottomed valley which has steep sides with a U-shaped cross-section. It is important, boys, that we know that a glacial trough is formed when we have a pre-existing river valley which is filled with the glacier. As the glacier moves downstream along the river valley, the tributary glacier is added into the river valley, and this increases the amount of ice in the main valley. The moving ice within the river valley erodes the main valley through two processes, and the processes are plaquing and abrasion. The moving glacier erodes the V-shaped valley by plaquing and abrasion. It is important that we note that the interlocking spars project into the V-shaped valley are trimmed off by the glacier through plaquing and abrasion and are being reduced to truncated sparse. Eventually, the glacier deepens, widens, and straightens the valley floor, forming U-shaped glacial trough. Another feature that I want us to look at, boys, another feature which I want us to look at, boys, is known as a rock basin. What is a rock basin? A rock basin is a depression which is formed within the valley glacier. This depression is formed in an area where there is differential erosion, either because two valley glaciers are converging at that particular point, or because there is a soft underneath rock that the glacier is moving over. What happens, boys, is that when a glacier is moving over a valley glacier and glacier reaches a softer rock, in that region with a soft rock, it will be eroded more through plaking and abrasion, deepening that section with a softer rock, and hence the section with the softer rock within the valley will form a depression which is known as a rock basin. Such depression may be filled with river water or may be filled with water when glacier melts to form a lake which is known as a ribbon lake or simply a finger lake. Another feature which I want us to discuss, boys, is truncated sparse. What are truncated sparse? Truncated sparse are trimmed off interlocking spars. When we have a V-shaped river valley with interlocking spars projecting into the valley, as glacier moves within the valley, the edges of interlocking spars are reduced or trimmed off through abrasion and plaking. And when this happens, so that the interlocking spars are reduced, a feature known as truncated spars are formed. After looking at erosional features, boys, in the glaciated uplands, it is equally important that we look at significance. Before we look at significance of glaciation in the upland in the upland areas, it is also important that we look at a feature called fjord, or a feature which is referred to as a fjord. What is a fjord? A fjord is a narrow arm of the sea which is formed when the lower part of the valley glacier is flooded by the sea water. What happens, boys, is that the lower end of the valley is eroded by glacier. The sides are steepened, the bottom of the valley is flattened, so that the valley formed a U-shaped section. The materials of erosion are deposited at the entrance of the valley, making the valley to be shallower towards the sea and the valley to be deeper inlands. The lower part of the valley is then covered with water to form a narrow arm of the sea that is referred to as fjord. Can we now look at significance of glaciation in upland areas, or what are the significance of upland glaciated features to human activities? Significance number one: glaciated features such as pyramidal peak, you can talk of a rete, you can talk of a sack, form a unique scenery which attract tourists earning foreign exchange. Number 2, glaciated mountains discourages human settlements due to rugged terrain formed by features like rock basin. Significance number 3, fjords form deep sheltered natural harbors and fishing ground when submerged by the sea. Another significance is that Hanging Valley form sites for hydroelectric power generation used in industries by forming natural waterfalls. Glacial lakes like Tarn provide water for domestic and industrial use, as well as it promotes trout fishing. It is equally important that we note that glacial surfaces on mountains like Alps are used in sports like